Pheno Hunt.
I'm sure we'll talk about the new Pheno Hunt. Probably the best one of 2025 here. Cheers,
Good.
everybody. Welcome to the Michigan Bros Grow Show. It is episode 268. How you guys doing tonight? We've got Spartan Grown, Terra Nation, and Nut Tree. And of course, I'm Ferroli. I think we might have a little red action joining us later tonight.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Looks like Spartan's getting his some flower bong in. I've got my my dab fresh in my lungs from actually his Death Star from 321. I ran some material of his.
Nice. I picked up some new dabs today. I got some Terp style. It is lemon. Where's it at? Lemon breath and animal tsunami.
You say, hold on, I'm dyslexic. Did you say lemon breath and animal tsunami?
Yes, yeah.
Yep.
And I am too.
Huh.
But here's the lemon breath. It's gorgeous. I know it's not really doing it justice. Very, very citrusy, almost.
Wait, two different ones?
Yeah, two different.
Oh, okay.
Jars.
I thought it was like
Sorry.
a cross of those two shades.
No.
No, it's okay. I was
Two
like, that's a
different
lot of different flavors in one.
Yeah,
I'm very
two different
curious.
jars.
Okay,
lemon
so
breath
explain the
is,
terps.
Very very citrusy, almost I asked Troy if he thought he got it, but he gets more of a lemon than I do. I get a little troppy off of this. I get a little bit of orange rindy kind of, but that might be what my brain is citrus in. You know what I mean? That might be how I interpret it.
And I might have only thought lemon because I looked and seen lemon on the jar. I was thinking citrusy, and then I right away went lemon, maybe because I read lemon, possibly.
But
Is
it's
it
funky at all?
Gorgeous color.
It is. There was a funk to it.
Yeah, it's definitely got a funk, and
Oh
yeah, definitely funky. But
When I think breath, I think
321
321 again, and because I've ran some like meat breath and some of his breath strains, and they're always super funky. But you know, I guess if you're combining it with lemon, it could totally not be. You know.
Yeah.
But let's see the other jar. I've had tsunami before, so I was really expecting like a berry right off the bat, and so nice. It's so delicious. It's more, I would say, like sherbet almost.
Huh.
Sherb with some real hints of some berry on that. But it's gorgeous too. Really nice. This is from Turf Style. Processed it for. I know I'm gonna pronounce this wrong, and I'm so sorry. I'm gonna butcher this. Do you want to try it, maybe? Here.
Epicurean Gardens.
Epicurean Gardens, and I'm probably butchering that because I always am terrible with.
Or Epicure, or it's like Epic.
I'm horrible with pronunciations. But great job. I mean, phenomenal. Great taste and great freaking high. I mean, this one knocked my socks off.
Spelled Epicurean.
Yeah, whoever
Gardens.
can properly pronounce that, you got thumbs up. But yeah, great job. I mean, it's gorgeous stuff. Yeah, gorgeous.
It's epic.
Great terps too.
It's epic.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
We like finding.
That's what I got.
Is that out of Ohio market? Is that out of Michigan market?
No, I picked this up in Michigan. I picked this up at Yeti's house.
Nice. I just assumed it was from Ohio, to be honest.
Mm-mm. No, I've actually recently had some different a couple different BHOs, a couple different rosins, and I'm so picky. I didn't care for any of them. I picked them apart, and then the one guy that gave me the dab was like, "Damn it, you ruined it for me now."
We don't shop the Ohio market. Are you crazy? It's too expensive. We
Yeah.
just go to Vegas.
It is so expensive. It is so expensive. I was lucky enough to get this tonight. I'm not normally able to get that, so that was huge for me to get this tonight. I appreciate Ariana greatly for giving that to me. But yeah, I've definitely had some stuff from Ohio that just really isn't like for me yet. I think it's definitely in the process of getting to where it needs to be, but I'm super picky and
We're figuring out who's
well, the
better
things,
treat-
the strains that I've had that I've tried are just not my cup of tea. So that's why I think that's why I haven't cared for it. Oh.
Reds in
There
the
he
house.
is. Congratulations, Red Sutter
Papa
Farm.
Red.
So red.
Hey, what's up,
The
guys?
new Daddy Red is in the house, everyone.
Congratulations.
Are you tired?
Am I tired? Yeah, dude.
How many diapers have you changed so far?
A lot. I lost count.
count.
We're beyond all of the Marconi. I don't know what the hell to call that stuff, dude. It's like,
Yeah.
like roofing
The
tar.
tar.
Yeah.
My father-in-law was like, "Yeah, it's the first poop." It was like the first 4 days of poop.
I'm sorry.
Hold on, it's
I'm sorry
probably
you got-
looping. I got my phone going. I didn't realize. That might be better.
I'm sorry you got 4 days of the the asphalt tar or whatever you want to call it. That's pretty
Yeah,
rough. But
exactly what
that's-
it's like.
I'll tell you what though, it's pretty much the worst one. I mean, they can get pretty bad. There's blowouts and all those kinds of things, but you know, that's a shocker the first time you see that.
we had that. I guess my first dad story. Hey, here we go.
Yeah, does it come with a joke?
No, not really. It's just
Okay.
It's a natural chain of events. There was a wet diaper, and so I go to change it. And while I'm going to change it, I don't put a diaper underneath her or anything, and she starts peeing beyond the wet diaper. And then it's like, okay, well, let me get that fixed, and then we'll get her all wrapped up and bundled up into a new pair of jammies. And then she starts giving the face. You know, I already know the face and the leg lift, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Well, that diaper's already soiled, and you know, it takes her like 20 minutes to get put back up in a onesie, you know what I mean? And so back out of that onesie we go and fix that one up, and she continues to poop for like 20 minutes. She's just like me. I'll tell you what, she's just like her old man, dude. Follows along. She's got the leg lift dialed in already. Yep. All right, good. And then spends a good half hour on the crapper. All right, okay, yeah, that's what she does. I'm saying she, guys. It was the big surprise. We had a girl. I don't know if anybody was.
She's absolutely adorable, guys. I'm
So beautiful.
so happy for you guys.
Mama is in chat. She.
It
It was a crazy experience. I don't know. I could tell the story if you want, but I'm really glad that the two of them are here in this world. She's a big girl, so.
She is.
For those that
already too.
For those that don't know, Becca has type 1 diabetes. That makes complications throughout throughout pregnancy, B throughout birth and delivery, and into even the baby. So after the baby was born, the baby was continuously glucose checked for her sugar levels to make sure that they weren't dropping. Nothing wonky was going on. They actually did drop at first, and she had to be monitored for another 12 hours and then some. And we were in the hospital, needless to say. We had to get induced because Becca is diabetic. What ends up happening is the baby grows quickly, obviously, but the baby grows a little extra quickly when you're feeding yourself insulin. And so Becca has to take insulin regularly. And what that ends up doing is it causes, you know, the baby to grow a little bit faster, but B, it eats away at the placenta, which is also feeding the baby. So placenta may get weak, and so they like to deliver the babies if they can at a healthy age of like 39 weeks rather than a full 40. Sometimes maybe even 38. Fortunately, Becca was able to go to 39. Unfortunately, they didn't really. I don't know if many places have different procedures or protocols, but they didn't really give too much of a late pelvic exam, or you know, it's been like a week since we had it had been a week since we had a ultrasound. Unsure if they did a last minute check of the size of the baby's head or anything like that. But the baby ended up being 8 pounds 13 ounces, which is almost a 9-pound baby. It's a very large baby. Becca's very small, and well, needless to say, Becca got induced Sunday evening and went into like a 30-hour labor before she was actually and this is of having contractions, every couple minutes regularly up until, I don't know, 24, 26 some hours later, where she was in like a 4 hours of pushing labor, which is, I'll tell you what, for anybody who goes through pushing labor, women who have babies, I guess that natural birth, powerful. I can't imagine anything. It's just so powerful. Unfortunately, the baby's head wasn't getting beyond the pelvis, and needed to be extracted in some sort of way. The baby being so large, a vacuum wasn't going to work, and we weren't sure the complications with a C-section being so low in the birthing canal, and the baby had to be extracted with forceps. And I told the baby that she was won by a claw machine game, because it's pretty much what happened. They went in there with these giant steel salad tongs.
It's like that scene out of Toy Story. Claw.
Yeah, dude. I wish it was as romantic as Toy Story. It was more like a scene out of a horror movie where the woman's being lifted up off of the table by the baby's head, and it was an insane thing to watch. It was an emotional roller coaster, and I'm being literal when I say that. The baby's head was she was being lifted off the table by the baby's head. The baby got stuck at the shoulders, and Becca tore really, really, really bad, and it's called a 4th-degree tear. I've been given permission to tell the story because Becca thinks that it does need to be told, because not out of fear, but just to make sure that you have all those ducks in the line, before going through. And if you think that a cesarean section would be a better way, Becca thinks the cesarean section may have been a better way. But we're here. The eye is on the prize, where our little baby, who was 9 pounds 13 ounces, was completely unscathed. She had a little bit of bruising on her cheeks at first. I thought that I didn't know what to think until she started crying. Honestly, it was, like I said, an emotional roller coaster witnessing it. And then Becca has an incredibly long recovery because of this. So we were in the hospital for then another, I don't know, until Thursday. We did get released. Becca's a champ. She, although sore, was able to get out of bed, perform all of her, bodily functions, and get a good shower in and stuff. And the baby's totally healthy, and she got released before Becca did. She went through all her tests, and poor thing got her foot pricked every 3 hours until that was all over. But besides that, I mean, she cries when she wants to get fed, and she likes to sleep, and she likes to poop a little bit and give us huge surprises. But yeah, dude, she came out with a full head of hair. She's got this beautiful dark skin tone. Becca's got some Syrian in her. I'm Maltese. We got a lot of Mediterranean blood. She's got this nice skin tone, and hoping to keep her very healthy. Huge props to the mother, man. Becca crushed it. Oh no, man, down. Are you guys okay?
Sorry.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Just the phone. I thought you both went sideways, and I was waiting for all of us to rock and roll. I thought it was that time.
No, we got dogs hitting
No,
the
all
table.
right.
Oh my god.
All right, don't strap it.
I
in yet.
would assume the video feed would cut as well, but that's terrifying. That's a terrifying thought.
All right, never mind. Yeah, right. So,
Wait, you guys aren't in your nuclear bunker right now?
No,
We're going down.
not
We're
tonight.
going there.
yeah, dude. Yeah, the claw.
But everyone's happy, healthy, the beautiful
Aliens in the claw
little
machine.
baby.
It's
No, I
amazing.
love the hair.
Wow.
I love the hair,
She's
man.
she's got thick black hair. I don't know who she got her hair from, but it's great.
I love
She's
it.
got Becca's everything, dude. Becca's eyes,
Yeah.
Becca's nose.
Yeah, he looks a lot like Becca.
she just got a little bit of hair from me, I think, and likely being, I don't think you can avoid it. You know, my hair and Ruben's hair is all over this house. So I mean, shout out to her mom who was in there with her the entire time. I'm sure she's not listening to this, but you know, just being the biggest supporter for her. And my parents were there, her dad was there, everybody was there for fucking all night long. You know, like I said, Becca was in a very long labor. They all showed up like Monday afternoon thinking that she was gonna be progressing a little quicker, and you know, the baby wasn't born until Tuesday morning, you know, like almost 7 o'clock in the morning. So we were up all night, and you know, that little bundle of joy is awesome, dude. So thank you. I see a lot of congrats and chats, and I appreciate you all. I know a lot of you guys have been following along and invested, you know, and I appreciate all of the support out there. We've got so much support through, you know, through friendships, through the interwebs, you know, supporters digitally, and then of course our parents and family that have been stopping by and dropping off meals and helping keep the place picked up. My nephew stayed with Ruben for a few days, and we couldn't have done it. I wouldn't have been able to be by her side without that. Somebody has to be able to tame Ruben, and he pulls my mom around the house. So, you know,
It's times like you realize that saying, you realize the gravity of that saying. It takes a village to raise a child.
Damn straight, dude. It takes a village just to make the bed in the morning, but you know what I mean. It's fucking Daddy Red in chat says you got the first girl in the family, and there's a couple, but out of all the grandkids, and you know, I have like 3 brothers. My dad has 3 brothers, you know, and they've all got boys. There's a girl sparkled in, you know, like salt and pepper here and there, but yeah, we finally have another baby girl. My older brother has 2 young boys. Like I said, one of them kept an eye on Ruben all weekend, but yeah, man, I finally got a little girl running around, and it'll be nice, and it's gonna soften me up. She's already softened me up so much. I don't know if you can tell, I'm just a little bit of a softer place. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna get so agitated at the things that I used to. At least not in the ways that I used to, and you got to be more mindful around the little ones because they have tiny ears, and they're gonna soak things up like a sponge. And I'm already preaching to definitely the parents of the choir, and I give it up to all of the parents of the choir. Yeah, seriously. Everybody out there that's got a little one, or is about to have a little one, or for, you know, however that goes. It's a lot of work, man. So we're getting sleep here and there. The baby's getting sleep here and there. We're figuring it out.
As they say, sleep when the baby sleeps.
That's
only
the
gonna
idea.
do that for the first, you know, couple days, weeks, whatever it is, but
that's definitely the idea. You know, it's not easy, and there's, you know, our circadian rhythm is the way it is, and trying to accomplish stuff during the day while the sun's out and things like that. But Becca went out and messed with the chickens today. You know, if you guys are wondering actually how she's doing, it makes it sound like she's going to be on complete bed rest forever, but she is resting in the bed. But she did go out and feed the chickens today. She is doing great. She is getting up and around and doing some things, and unfortunately she can't just like get right up and take care of the baby, you know. So I've definitely had to step in as not only, you know, dad right away, but caretaker, and make sure that she's doing well and taking things slow and getting fed. And you know, fresh eggs and bacon today. You know, unfortunately, a lot of you guys are having some egg issues out there, man. And if you can get yourself, I suggest getting some chickens, dude, because you'll be able to have the fresh eggs, some bacon, and get mama some good protein and minerals for that baby, and you know, doing everything au natural, and so the baby can have good milk. And
Brett, I gotta know, how about cannabis? What's her stance on cannabis? Is she gonna smoke any cannabis? Has she got first as far as either flower or a dab afterwards, and was it amazing?
Well, she hasn't yet, and they did have her on some meds, man, and I guess we can get into that for a second too. She's off of the some of the meds, opioids. I'm not going to say which specific opioids, but I will say specifically the epidural. We do have a lot of controversy about opioids in this country, and today's epidural contains fentanyl. Well, I asked what the epidural was, and it was a fentanyl drip, and so, I mean, for better or for worse, without that epidural, and Becca almost didn't get an epidural, and a woman, and we heard like what could only have been a pterodactyl in the room next door. I couldn't imagine it anything other than that. A very large one was screeching through the walls, and it was very terrifying sounding. And so Becca was like, "Yeah, I will have the epidural." The story goes that the woman had no idea. Yeah, anyways, and beyond the stories that we need to tell. So anyways, the pterodactyl next door scared Becca enough.
Those pauses, Red, look like a little bit of PTSD, a little bit.
I had,
It's like,
well, it's there. It is there. I had to turn on the radio a few times. There were in fact lots of dinosaurs in this hospital. I'm not sure what Jurassic Park was doing in the health system that we're in, but it is for everybody who doesn't get an epidural, even more congrats out to you, props out to that, and strength and love. That's insane. But Becca was wanted it, and thank God, because excuse me, I couldn't imagine her going through that extraction and getting torn like that without an epidural. And so, I mean, the modern medicine, excuse me, Western med, I'm always I'm always like, oh, pharma sucks, and it does. And unfortunately Becca is a kind of lifelong customer because of the insulin thing, being diabetic. But that drip really helped her, and I know that it's really bad, and I've lost a lot of friends to fentanyl, and there's a terrible polarity with that because it's available so widely, like synthetically. And I just want to be clear that medical grade, pharmaceutical grade fentanyl in the hospitals is much different than what goes around on the street that's synthetically made. And well, they're both synthetically made, but what is made and distributed by X groups or cartels or anything like that, it's very, very different. It's the same substance, right? I wish that they would rename the fentanyl, I suppose, that they use, but I don't think they can trademark, right? I don't know, but they're making a very similar analog to that, and it's not fentanyl. It's like isofentanyl or whatever that gets on the street. It's an analog of an analog. What's being used in the hospital system is a pharmaceutical grade opioid that's synthetic, not natural. You think natural opioids, you think the poppy plant, you think of morphine, which she was offered and helped through the first night. So you do think plants and both of those, and the Eastern medicine be far more prophylactic. Do your stretching and get your things done, and mindfulness, and maybe take certain herbs and prepare for that. And then the Western medication is far more reactionary, where you might have to get things done, you might have to medicate, you might have to fix it post being done. So the fine balance between the two philosophies of medical health, you can't be too dogmatic in one way or the other, because you need it all. You need it all. I've often just been very, very anti-pharma and things like that, and I can see where there's a huge necessity for it. Thank God for the modern medical system in many, many, many ways. So I like to be hippies and natural as much as possible, but you can't deny that it is needed.
It has its place, absolutely. It just gets abused from so many different ways, whether it's like on the streets, like you're talking about, or from an economic greed standpoint, it's just, you know, the insurance, all that stuff. It really like puts a sour taste in your mouth for every last bit of it.
It really does.
But yeah, when you need it, you know, it's fucking, it helps.
It really does help. And you know, more power to everybody who wants to do water births and natural births and everything like that. And also more power to everybody who just feels that they just need to take an epidural and you know, medicate and get through it. You know, yeah, you're all strong for putting yourselves through it, period. It's super wild, man. And we've all entered here. You know, we're all here, you know, all of us listening, you know, we all, the words of Robert Hunter and Jerry Garcia, you know, in Some Other Time, Forgotten Place, your eyes looked through your mother's face. I mean, at one time we were all gestated, you know, through this womb of, you know, this place where our mothers held us, and she was our vision, you know, for a solid, you know, 9 months. And then somehow, some way we got just ripped into this world and through this crazy traumatic experience. And we're all living now, you know, and all of our lives are different, but at one time, all of our lives were so much similar, you know, and that's why it's so important, you know, to treat your bodies right. You know, if you're going to, you know, it's not just our bodies, especially if you're putting yourself through having kids and stuff like that. And I think about that just in like, in a both physical sense, but also in a mental sense, you know what I mean? The longevity of a family unit and things like that. So no, Becca put it out in chat. I guess I can say the words. Her name is Aurora, and we named her after the beautiful skies of tie-dye that happened down here in Michigan this year. We had the Aurora Borealis, and come to find out, she's got a whole bunch of princesses in her name too. I totally forgot Snow White's name is Aurora, and so a pretty cool double entendre there. And yeah, the little Aurora is Aurora Joe. Yeah, Aurora Joe. Becca's aunt. Well, Becca's sister actually is her middle name is Joe, and her aunt's middle name was Joe, and be her heavenly aunt Gail, no longer with us, and so named after a couple greats here. And the Aurora Borealis, man, she's stardust. You know, all these little ones that are coming into the world this year, these solar storms. You know, there's a tickle of stardust in all of them. I know there's been a baby boom I've seen in the cannabis industry lately, and I don't know what was going on during the Northern Lights season last year, but it seems that there's a lot of stardust, you know, happening. So shout out to all these little solar flare babies that are popping in, and so that's what she's named after, our solar flares of this year. Yeah, I felt it suiting.
You guys had that
as well.
You wait until after birth and after you I guess essentially met her before you picked her name.
Yeah, because we weren't sure if it was a boy, so we did have a few boy names, and we had a couple girl names. I won't spoil them on here.
Yeah, keep them close to the chest for now.
We'll keep those ones on here, and we still have them in the back of our pocket, and we're still hoping to have a couple more little children. At least one. I shouldn't say a couple. I don't know how Becca feels about me saying multiples there, but we'd like to try for another one in the future, and be grateful enough to be able to care for one again. But you know, I guess that's my monologue for the moment, and I have lasagna in the oven that might be burning. Let me go grab that real quick. I'll be right back.
Gotta get that lasagna, Garfield.
What a blessing, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. So happy for him.
It's cool to see. Well, it's cool to be a parent and to have those aha moments where you just like get respect for your parents. Be like, oh, I see what they were doing there. I see why they were so mad at me at this point in life. Or I see what they were gonna do here. And then to make myself sound even older as hell. And I won't drag you into this, Tara, but you can jump in if you want to. But to see your kids have those aha moments and have appreciation for you, it's just so awesome. It's like, oh, you know.
That you're right, because it was funny. Carly literally called me. What was it, last weekend? And I answered immediately, and she was like, "Oh, thank you." And I was like, "For what?" And she's like, "You always answer." And she's like, You're always, you always are there for me." She's like, "I so appreciate you." And like, she wanted to thank me, for doing such a good job. And but she also had a moment herself where she was out with people from her work, and she was being recognized for her work, and she's not normally like recognized, that kind of thing. So I don't think she knew how to like take it. So she was kind of emotional. And but yeah, your kids definitely, and your grandkids, goodness, we have grandkids now. And that's amazing. I mean, goodness. Oh, nuts. But yeah, kids are great.
My
Grandkids are even
kids
better.
have certainly taught me grandkids are even better. I love that. My kids have taught me a lot of empathy for my own parents for raising me. You know what I mean? Like
Oh
a
yeah.
different kind of aha, I think there. But
Oh, I was a
um,
shitty kid, so I feel bad for all that I did to my mom.
right. We don't have to get off the topic here, but I do want to talk about this, guys. I've had this pulled up on my screen in case, in case Red came a little bit later, to be honest with you. But so popular brand of cannabis vape cartridges recalled for potentially unsafe diluting agent is the headline, and this comes after the first public health and safety bulletin or safety advisory bulletin of the year from the CRA here in Michigan. We only had 2 last year, total of 6 the year before that. But checking out this bulletin, it says a voluntary recall in the interest of public health and safety. RWB Michigan LLC, in conjunction with the CRA, is recalling vapes throughout the market in Michigan. It's various flavors of Platinum Vape brand vape cartridges that contain medium chain triglyceride chain. Do they put chain in there twice? I don't think it's supposed to be their choice. Oil and should not be consumed. So some of the flavors: garlic cookie, blazing blue cheese, banana candy, and Grape Valley Kush. I don't know how many of those are actually strains or just flavors, but this is fairly big news, I'd say, because Platinum Vape is one of the top 1, 2, 3 maybe vape cartridge
Yeah.
companies in the state.
Definitely, I would say.
Easy, yeah.
So MCT oil is a bad thing now? Well, I guess to smoke.
Yeah, I think it is the smoke. I do add a little bit of MCT oil into our RSO when we make RSO. It lets it go through the syringe a little easier, and it lets it absorb into the body a little bit faster. It does something. It bonds. It's a bonding agent, and I do think that it has a high smoke point, but I don't think that it is good to actually smoke. But again,
Yeah, I don't think you're
I don't
supposed to
know.
smoke it. It says up here, to recall the vape cartridges, which is voluntary, comes a few months after the CRA began requiring that the cannabis oil used in vape pens be tested for the diluting agent MCT.
And also what that
this
is
from June last year.
It's basically coconut oil. It's a refined coconut oil. It comes from the coconut. So it is natural.
Yeah, I use it in my topicals, right? Like it's
Yep.
in this right here, and it's okay to put on your skin, but I think it's one of those things where like heating it up at a certain temperature. Yeah, there you go, derived from coconut oil. Heating it up maybe is the dangerous part. I'm trying to find that here in this one of these articles here. I guess I could just Google it on the side too, but yeah, while it's a food safe ingredient similar to vitamin E acetate, scientists say inhaling these substances can lead to inflammation of the lungs, which can turn into illnesses like bronchitis and pneumonia. So you'll remember the vitamin E acetate issue or scare or whatever you want to call it. That was not too long after I think we went rec. So what was that? 2019, 2020 probably?
I'd
Or
say
right around
like
that time.
Ballpark, yeah. Maybe 18.
That
19,
was yeah, maybe it was 18 because I think it was more on the west coast. I think.
I think it was out of Wisconsin.
I asked Gemini, I think that's Google's AI. about smoking MCT oil, which is an awesome question to ask an AI. And they said it's not safe because there's a study. So that's interesting. However, there's evidence that smoking MCT oil can be harmful to your lungs. A 2020 study published in the Journal of Toxicology and Applied Pharmacology found that vaping MCT oil can cause lung inflammation and damage in mice. So it wasn't in humans, but they found that it did in mice. Additionally, the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention has warned that vaping MCT oil can cause lipid pneumonia, a serious lung condition. And for these reasons, it's important to avoid smoking the oil. So that's Gemini's response on that one.
Fair enough. And again, this is like one of those things where it's like regulation, just like the big pharma kind of stuff like we were just talking about. Maybe regulation can be a good thing sometimes, you know what I mean? Because there are certain things that, one of the biggest players in the market will just add to their vape carts to probably make it, taste or feel or, the usability of it. I don't know what you want to call it. Maybe is better.
I think
But
they used in the official document, and that's filler or dilutant. So it's probably cheaper than anything else that is an ingredient in that vape cart. So by buying, you add some more of that in there, you're making more money. That's probably why. I doubt it's for flavor.
It's the opposite of cutting it with fentanyl, right? Like,
yeah, that's definitely that, for sure.
It's more like cutting it with baking soda, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, this is also, to be fair, a new market, an emerging market. You're going to see people try different things and try to, especially when now that we have tariffs on imports, not only from China but from Canada and from Mexico. You're going to see, I think, people trying to be creative to not have to pass those costs on to the customer. So they're going to try to make cuts or cut corn.
Oh, they're making cuts, all right. Michigan Marijuana Company PinCana cuts jobs amid industry transformation. This is from yesterday. So Michigan Marijuana Company is temporarily closing one of its operations, resulting in layoffs. The company confirmed late Friday, January 31st. Specific numbers are not immediately available for how many employees were laid off at PinCana, right? This is in Pinconning. However, officials said it temporarily closing the greenhouse portion of its cultivation operation and reducing its workforce. And this is out of a locations in East Lansing, Kalamazoo, Kalkaska, and a 135,000 square foot grow facility in Bay County, which,
Wow.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's huge. Wow, that's a shame to hear. Wow.
So I'm curious to know how many employees were there. Let's see. They had 312 in December 2024. Or dropped by 312. So what? No, okay. So they had. I'm confused.
I would love. What am I trying to say? I would be interested to see what correlation between the number of employees that were dropped and the number of canopy space that they stopped growing. Like when you dropped, say a room or whatever that canopy space was, whatever that square footage is, how many employees did they have work in that canopy space?
Does it take more to run a greenhouse versus indoor grow?
I think it does. I would have to say, in my experience, it all matters the team you're working with, and the larger the team,
sure,
the worse off, the lower your chances. The larger the team, the lower the chances it's going to be a good cohesive unit. So I would err on the side of some really awesome fucking growers that worked well together, which is impossible to find, but you can find them. You're going to hit a home run every time, but if you can't find that, you're going to have to supplement that by throwing extra bodies at things. Because people that have the passion to do this shit, fucking Tara can tell you, you can work along next to people and you can tell right away if they have passion for it, they're going to fucking bust ass every single fucking day.
Yep.
They want to learn. They want to know how to do better. And then there's people that treat it like a job.
Yep.
And they'll come in there and do with the bare minimum so they don't get yelled at or whatever, and then move on. So how do you determine that? Fucking, you have to work with them. I mean, that's it. So it's a
Yeah.
question I think is really hard. It really depends on the team because, like cannabis, the human phenols are very diverse as well.
That's true, and business relationships are important, as is evident by this article, which is only a few days old as well. It's the nation's biggest weed company. Can you guess who it is? Owes Michigan grower $32 million in damages. Scroll it down here. Oh, who's that? Michigan cannabis grower Hello Farms is set to receive $32 million after a federal court jury found earlier this week that Curaleaf, the country's largest weed company, breached its purchase agreement. So this is after 4 years in court. Curaleaf agreed to buy thousands of pounds of Hello Farms outdoor-grown cannabis if its products achieved more than 12% THC, the psychoactive ingredient, of course, for $1,000 a pound in 2020 and $850 a pound in 2021. But after acquiring just 2,000 pounds of the contract to 16,000 pounds in 2020, Curaleaf demanded to renegotiate as prices in the state's legal industry were cratering.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I feel so sorry for you.
Yeah, funny how you want to write these contracts in your favor, but when it's not in your favor, you don't want to honor the contract anymore. Huh? That's weird. That's almost like what contracts are for.
That's weird. Yeah, it's weird. It's almost like you don't know what fucking business is. And
I wonder about that if that's why you're failing.
yeah, exactly.
It's weird. They pull out of Michigan.
And the other states too, I believe. Yeah, interesting stuff though.
I mean, if we wait just long enough, I mean, a lot of them are going to drop and pull out. They're all pulling. It's just going to be like the big three will be left, and then it'll just be, it'll just be that'll be the market, and there'll just be the some craft market will exist. Hopefully, there will be some legacy operators in the licensed space, but I don't know, man. If they all get,
I don't know if you guys realize the impact of these fucking. I'm not saying fucking like I'm saying agree or disagree, but these tariffs that Trump just dropped on imports and exports. But I'm going to be really curious to see how that's affects like supply from certain items and certain commodities and things like that.
oh yeah, dude, yeah, absolutely. Where are those metric tags coming from?
Yeah, well, most everything supply wise, like the little fucking pots or fucking little disposable anything.
Yeah,
it's usually from China, so that's 10% markup now. What the fuck?
Yeah,
and that's an industry that's already kind of struggling when it comes to. But maybe if they do a federal legalization, they'll be able to tax, have tax write-offs. Maybe that'll be a good way to.
You got the consumables like the Mylar bags and the nitrile gloves and all of that stuff that, well,
it's everything. I mean, and it's even like the ingredients in the soil that we're buying and stuff like that, which, it's I think still going on the Chinese Lunar New Year. So, you're not getting anything out of China right now. So it's going to be another week before you can order anything.
Companies have ordered, maybe gotten their last order in for the year before the new year. So that would be on a boat already on the way here. Right. And now tariffs are, this is what's crazy. I was watching a thing about this today, which was wild. So now tariffs are levied. I think it's starting on the second here, so Tuesday or something. And so now these boats that are en route, they've already had side contracts that they're going, and the deal's made. Now they get to port, and now there's a 25% bill on top of everything. Who pays that? The guy who sent it, or the guy who ordered it? Neither one of them had anything to do with the tariffs going in. So there's going to be a big fight, and everything's going to be held up logistically until somebody pays for it.
Or it's going to get turned around, and they're going to have to get fuel to get turned around.
In the end, it's the consumer that pays for it, because any kind of tax, or whatever you want to call it, any kind of tax that gets put on a product or an ingredient or a material or whatever it might be isn't getting swallowed up by the company. It's getting passed on to the consumer. So we'll just see prices rise, and the availability of stuff may be interesting, especially right now, if that's kind of true, with like people being like, hey, what do we do with these 100,000 crates here that we now have 100 or 25% tax on? Who does pay for that? But
there's already been retaliation from Canada. They levied a 25 back on us. So it's anybody that's got like cross-border traffic, that's going to either slow down or stop that. Because who's going to be able to keep up at a 25? I don't know. I don't know any company that's going to be like, my product is 25% more expensive. Who's going to want to buy it now? I don't know.
Well, that's when supply and demand starts taking effect.
The dollar is so strong against the Canadian dollar. I think it's gonna hurt Canada more than it hurts the United States by far.
Yeah, I think that's probably the point.
Oh, yeah.
But speaking of prices going up, I mean, we're starting construction tomorrow, just in a few hours here, on a brand new state-operated marijuana testing facility. You think that price is going to go from a multi-million-dollar lab to maybe a multi-million-dollar lab now?
Maybe, but I love the idea of this. I love a neutral lab, one that's not getting paid by the fucking grows, right? Like kind of a broke system. It kind of encourages bad players when you have, as a grow, you want to have the highest test you can. Obviously, you don't want to be fucking deceptive, but if you can turn your product into 3 state licensed labs and 1 consistently or 2 consistently always test higher, you're going to be pushed to do that because everything is perceived quality off of that testing.
A handful of the testing facilities, PSI Labs being one of them, the original testing facility, almost one of the only ones that was around forever. People came from all over the state of Michigan to go to that one to get their stuff tested. It's very, very popular throughout the legacy community. They even closed down because they just couldn't get any clients because I don't know if their numbers were too high or if they were too transparent. I don't know how transparent they were being, but
saying about that's the competition is because like then the grower is going to go to the person that gives them what they see have perceived higher results.
Yeah,
and that get paid more for doing that.
A lot of people use the Viridis system. They just go to the cops and use that system.
So instead, now there's going to be a third party that's going to be state licensed, and it's not going to get I'm assuming it's not going to get paid by the growers to test their weed. They're probably just going to hopefully be just out there checking to make sure the labs are doing their shit the right way. They're going to, after, they've already lab tested it, they'll check that, randomly. And hopefully that's all they do all day long is just randomly test samples all day long and make sure that the shit that's on the shelf is, reflects what's on the fucking label. At least that's my interpretation of it. But I mean, I hope that's how they're going about it. And if that's what it is, I think that's amazing. I think that's awesome. It's a good use of money. I have an impartial tester.
Yeah, I like it. You know what I don't think is a good use of money is the potash mine that I suppose it depends on what other uses, but they seem to think that they're just trying to use it for agriculture and try to cheapen the load, which is going to be good short term here in the United States while we have so much chemical agriculture. But I would really hope to see regenerative agriculture take hold and us not need so much chemical agriculture. And that potash would then not need to be mined, and we could actually just, regenerate the soil instead of adding so much. There's so many fires going on. I'd imagine they could extract some potash from all of the burning carbon on the west side, on the west coast. I mean, they're doing so much cleanup. It sounds like it's just another business opportunity and another way for state funding to get put into the billions of dollars of tax-paying citizens. As we try to cheapen, terrible agriculture that's just creating more and more erosion and dust bowls by chemicalizing and destroying our fields. And yeah, we're getting more corn and soy, but do we need more corn and soy? Maybe we need more small farms with diversity and ecological minded approaches towards farming. We could still feed many, many, many millions that way. And maybe we could, I don't know. But that's something that's also going on. Quick tangent about Michigan spending. That was another thing. If you are in Michigan, take a look at that. Maybe there's a way we can get more information out of the logistics of a potassium mine in Michigan. I don't know.
I wanted to ask you, Red, about how did this birth effector grow? Did it survive okay and everything's good?
Yeah, everything was good, man. Everything's nice, and I went out there. I actually got a chance. Mother-in-law came by and stayed with Becca for a day, and everything's good, man. Actually, I held off on a flip so I just kind of cut back some of my stuff in veg and just kind of not have to worry about it while we were in the hospital. And set all the timers, and it's what's nice about being automated, you know. And speaking of costs and all of that stuff, I was looking at the amount of nutrients that we still have left from when the scare of nutrient price, like fertilizers increasing back in, like, I don't know, dude, 2022, I think it was like summer 2021 or 2022. Becca and I went up to Grow Green, and I think we only spent like $500, which sounds like a lot on a run, but it wasn't for a run. It was we bought some fertilizer in bulk, but it also doesn't sound like that much, because I know of growers that spend $300 in just a couple runs worth of fertilizer. And so we spent $500 back in 2022, something. What we're going in the summer of 2025. It's been 3 years. We're just barely tipping into like half of that supply. So we have like another 3 years worth of, and we're kind of shutting lights off at this point. We're slowing down our growth a little bit. So I might have even mentioned this last week. I'm sort of having deja vu that I did, but maybe I was just talking to somebody. That's a very good cost per gram, in my opinion, because we definitely grow enough for our own personal consumption, and then in addition, the consumption of many patients. And really the highest part of the cost is the electricity, which is astronomical because we're still using HPS, and air conditioners are running during winter, and sealed rooms and all of that stuff. The environmentals is where we put a lot of our costs, but the fertigation is almost min to nothing. And so for that, I do thank, I guess, the potassium sulfide, and those, chemicals that are going into hydroponics. I would really like to get more natural systems in my indoor, but like I said, I still have like 3 years worth of fertilizer to use. So I might end up trying to do some Synganic systems just to get through some of this fertilizer, or it might just be a really, really good emergency reserve stock for like the apocalypse. But yeah, one of these days I'll start doing regenerative systems, but I'm still actually, using some potassium myself, in the form of chemical potassium. But otherwise, we're good for the next couple of years. And I'm that's how cheap you can get. Used to be able to get fertilizer, at least J.R. Peters. So super cheap, man.
Well, that's the way to go too. Is if you're going to use, some synthetics, use the dry stuff. Don't pay for water.
That's what it is too. Yeah. It's dry powders.
Not only for water, it's cheaper, but your store's way the hell better too. If you keep
no shelf life.
Oh yeah.
Just mineral salts. They just sit on the shelf. Don't get them wet. Don't put them in a high humid environment. It's, same thing with everything else. But yeah, they work well. One of these days, I wanted to do some organic beds and get those rocking. It'll happen one of these days. We're going to diversify the farm anyways, and probably turn one of our flowering rooms into a microgreens room inevitably near future. It's been shut down for a while. I haven't really been even running it, so I might as well put it into something useful, get some food out of it, something like that. So I'll probably be hitting up the old GML train there, Spartan, for some GML lighting very soon. I'm probably paying some 25% tariffs on those, unless GML can get a little assembly factory over here in the United States. That'd be kind of cool.
You didn't hear about this warehouse in Michigan that Russ is running?
I'm saying, bro, depending on which ones you need, I have some of those at the warehouse right now. So
I don't need them this moment.
And Spartan's only putting a 15% Spartan tariff on it, so
Saving you 10%, man.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, one of these days we'll end up doing that. I got to get the investment opportunity to do so, and then we're gonna crunch down. Really hoping to get into a couple good markets so that we can lock down some good investment and work it through. And yeah, it'd be really cool. But it'd also be really cool to support the GML family on a different note than just cannabis, and starting to show it off into the food community and things like that would be really cool. And also, yeah, I guess maybe it'd be cool to see them assembled here in the United States sometime. Wink, wink, GML. If you do that, I do have a aviation background. I'm an airplane mechanic. I can assemble lighting. Yeah, yeah. Holler. We're also in the Jackson area, so
There you go.
or I'll holler at you. We'll do that. Yeah. But yeah,
And he
no.
comes with a child workforce now.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You got a child to pay for and a homestead to pay for one of these days. But
Those little
dude,
fingers, though, they're so good at those tiny
telling
screws, you know.
I'm telling you, dude. Yeah, that's gonna be it, dude. Hopefully clipping fan leaves and plucking little microgreens and let's see.
Digging up potatoes.
and I didn't really answer that question earlier when you were talking about the Becca smoking, and I wasn't avoiding it. She's not smoking, you know, and we're also not consuming in the house or around the baby. We are working on some CBD though. I take CBD regularly, but Becca's work. I'm going to be trying to make a little concoction. So I've got some CBD isolate, and I've got some CBG isolate, and I do even have a little bit of RSO. And Becca doesn't want to take too much THC, you know, just overall just anxieties and things like that, having the newborn around and whatnot. And so I think I'm going to make a 1-to-1 CBD CBG for her. And I'm also going to make an even microdose. I was trying to do some math. I think if I do something in the range of like 1,000 milligrams of CBD, 1,000 milligrams of CBG, and I do something in the range of like 200 milligrams of RSO, okay, of cannabinoid, high THC cannabinoid. You're going to be in the range on a 30 milliliter dropper. Hopefully have somewhere in the range of less than about 6, somewhere between 3 milligrams of THC, which is a microdose. And a microdose is threshold at about 2. Threshold means that it crosses the blood-brain barriers. You begin to start to feel a dose at about 2.5 to 3 milligrams. Us casual smokers, those of us who toke,
Speak for yourself, Fred.
Some people are in the 50 to 100 milligram, right? But you're grandma, you know, somebody they're probably not going to feel a dose lower than about 2.5. They'll start to feel about a 3, maybe a 4 or 5 might even give some people a panic attack. You know, you might have had your Aunt Karen on. No offense to anybody actually named Karen, but you know, let's just throw that name out there. She might be on the couch after a 5 milligram gummy or you know, whatever. But anyways, I'm trying to find a happy medium of hitting a dropper dose or somewhere in the range of just a microdose, alongside with a nice 3 to 4x CBD as at a 1-to-1 with CBG. So you're putting in probably about 15. If I do my math right, about 15 grams and 15 grams or so of each of those. I may be wrong. It might be 30 of each, but somewhere in that range. Roughly maybe about 35-40 milligrams of cannabinoids per dropper. You know,
what effects are you expecting from that? Like, I'm expecting at least probably bring inflammation down in the body.
That's the idea, helping to speed up the repair.
Yeah.
And also helping milk production as well. There's anecdotal evidence that it will help that way, and even help add a good positive cannabinoid response to the milk itself, and help the baby's endocannabinoid system without THC, of course. Yeah, and not that the baby needs it, but of course the blood sugar and all of that. It's all good to help that milk supply and make sure that she's getting a proper supply of minerals and vitamins and everything that we have. And the immune
Also,
system.
don't forget the levels that the baby is getting through breast milk is the same that's in the blood levels. So it's not as if you, let's say, consumed. Actually, I don't know how this translates because I've always read it as blood alcohol content, right? And drinking. And, it's like if you drank a glass of wine and then breastfed your baby isn't getting a 15%, glass of wine through breast milk. I'm not sure what that actually would be because every body metabolizes, alcohol and other things differently, but that is one thing to consider. It's a significantly reduced portion, I guess.
Yeah, we could tell the first night we got home, the baby slept through the night. Becca had taken some opioids.
That's awesome.
That day, and you could tell that the baby. Well, you could tell that the baby had gotten the opioids because it just was out. You know what I mean, all night, or was just incredibly exhausted, just the same as all of us.
I was gonna say maybe you guys just got lucky because that's awesome either way.
Might have just got lucky, but that first night was really good. Yeah, the last night and last couple nights have been more like being in the hospital and nurses checking on you every hour, waking the baby up and inadvertently waking us up. And it is really cool because we did have a couple really good nurses. One of them actually offered to keep an eye on the baby for us so we could get some shut eye, and that was really nice. So even though we didn't really want anybody moving the baby around or taking her off of our hands, keeping an eye on her was our number one prerogative. We felt confident this nurse was really nice. We had a couple of really nice nurses. So
that makes a huge difference. And don't forget it is their job. You know what I mean? That's what they're there for.
We were their only patient. They were there to watch us.
Oh, wow.
When they weren't in our room, they were literally just sitting outside the room, working on the computer, working on charts and whatnot. She just took her out in the hallway,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and she had to go in for testing anyway, which we weren't allowed to go back into that room to go do anyway. So
you're like,
wait, yeah. They were like, we're gonna take her for testing, and I was like, well, can I go back with you? I was like, you're not taking the baby out of my sight. That was our first. But after like not sleeping for like a couple of days, we we're like, here, take the baby out. You know what I mean?
Got any more of those tests?
Yeah, test me out. Here, take it. I was asleep, dude. But the I was asking about any issues with the child having breast milk and Becca having that, and it didn't seem to really affect her while Becca was on opioids pretty much her entire time in the hospital, but the baby seemed fine when she was only drinking colostrum. This is before the milk supply. It wasn't until we actually got home and the milk supply started coming in that we noticed the baby feeling the effects, I imagine, or at least seemingly the effects were there with the baby sleeping. But the doctor said that only a tiny amount of the opioid would come through, so I'm not sure what the reduced amount ends up being in breast milk, but yeah, it's definitely active.
Well, maybe breast milk is just what the baby needed, and that gave her a good night's sleep. You know what I
mean?
That's
possible too. It sure is what that Maconian roof tar needed to go away. Oh my god!
I gotta flush that out. Oh my Lanta, dude.
Yeah, it's
well, what is that,
dude? It's so bizarre. And the funny thing is because, like I said, that she likes to just go to the bathroom every time she's being cleaned, and so I got to witness that stuff just happening live just about every time too. So yeah, that was.
Just wait till it's a boy and it doesn't just end up on the changing table. It ends up all over them, all over you, all over the floor, all over the clean clothes that you're just about to change them into.
She likes to kick her legs around, and I got this habit. I just got both fingers gripping both ankles, just like nope, don't kick it.
Yeah.
Don't kick it.
Everyone finds a way, man.
Figuring it out.
I got so quick at putting a diaper on top of him. As soon as I pulled that other one off, I'm like, "You're not peeing. You're not getting me today." Man.
Oh, dude, yeah, yes. She pees, but fortunately, it's just like just puddles out. You know, a little boy just got the little fucking fountain of youth happening,
man.
dude. Yeah, literally fountain of young school boy. It was a complete surprise. Anybody that doesn't know, we had no idea we were getting a girl or having a girl. We have a lot of neutral baby things. Fortunately, a neighbor of Becca's mom's, and also shout out to the Yeti Stash family, Yeti Stash and Amanda Yeti. They hooked us up with their daughter's hand-me-downs. Thankfully, we had a daughter to use all those hand-me-downs. So thank you very much to that family. They're awesome. And you know, it's not going to be too long where we're going to have a whole bunch of outgrown hand-me-downs that we'll be probably offering up as well.
Speaking of outgrown, I guarantee you guys aren't using newborn diapers. If she's a 9-pound baby, you got to be
We're
already
still using them. Not yet.
Really?
Thankfully,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
Because we had
It's gonna be
don't have
2
many.
days, bro.
Keep them together. We're using them.
Well, we've got about a pack of them left. You know, we got about a day or two worth of them left. So I'm really hoping that she's big enough to use the next size. But yeah, she's tight in them, but the next size is almost just too big for her. So we're still keeping her in them for the time being, which is kind of nice because they're easy to work with. And I can't imagine if it's loose on the next size and the stuff's gonna be coming out. We've already. Why do they make baby clothes in white? Why? What is white baby clothes a thing? That shouldn't even.
So
be
you know when you just gotta toss it.
They sell baby clothes, bro, because they instantly stain, and then you gotta go buy them again.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's how you sell them, right? All the baby clothes that are white, dude. Can just they can just be thrown away immediately. It's fun. It is a lot of fun. I was dreading the diaper change, but you know what? Becca was in such a rough position. They actually turned the delivery room into an operating room to help her. They turned on these runway lights attached to the ceiling, and I had no idea that the bed did this, but it broke apart into 3 sections, and they took the bottom half of the bed away, you know, and got 4 nurses just like in there to repair, you know, and do the thing. And that was just a straight operating room. I'm surprised they allowed Becca's mom and me to stay in there. It was just such a crazy experience. And they took the baby, you know, she comes out and she just looks like a little hippopotamus, you know what I mean? She's just a little purple hippopotamus. And like, thank God, immediately put it on it. We wanted to delay our cord clamping, but with the way that the baby was, you know, the trauma that they had to use the force, they had to immediately clamp the cord. And I did get a chance to cut that cord, and I did get a chance to announce the gender of the baby. And thankfully we're there for all of that stuff. And it was like just an output of emotion when I screamed the gender, and then, you know, was able to hear that baby cry for the first time. Because you don't know, you watch that baby being yanked on its head, you know, to the force that the, you know, mom is being pulled off the table, and they get it out, and they're yelling, the shoulders are stuck and the cords around the neck, and you're hearing all these words, you know, and then you hear that baby cry, and they laid her on Becca's chest, and they got their skin to skin, and we got our skin to skin, and then they took her, you know, and they took her over to the NICU. They might have taken her to the NICU first, and then they dropped her back onto Becca. They had to check her just to make sure that she wasn't damaged from those giant salad tongs, and got her onto us, man. And it was just, the most.
At what point did you count her fingers and toes?
Immediately. You know, she's still got a little thing where she's cross-eyed, so you know, I'm hoping that has nothing to do with the experience, but apparently that's normal for about 6 months, so we'll see. If that's the only bit of damage, I mean, I'm happy with that. Her neck's not stretched out or nothing, and no bruising. The risk would be bruising, and she was fine.
Did you cut the cord in one snip?
I did.
Okay,
I've cut enough hose. I've used enough hoses. I've cut enough like 1/2-inch hose to know that you really got to give it a good, or else it'll like fray. You know, you don't want to fray the hose. You get a bad get a bad connection on your union and your
You
fitting.
got to make another cut, measure
Right.
twice, cut once. We don't
That's
want to
right.
cut more than once over here. Yeah, my that was some of the best advice one of my best friends gave me. He's like, that fucking cord is tough, man. You got you got to really go for it. Like, cut through it in one could go. And I'm like, all right, dude. Like, I had no idea. And then I went for it. I was like, oh shit, he was right.
Martial artist said we're probably fermenting the placenta for the garden. He's not very far off, as a matter of fact. I'm not going to say where it's stored because these things are apparently have a high street value, but the placenta was saved. Yeah, and the idea is to use it in the garden. So we're or potentially supplements. There's a lot of things you can use it for. So we're
get it powderized or whatever.
yeah, if we get a harvest right anytime soon, might just there we go. That'll just break in the harvest right with the placenta, and then we'll have placenta hash.
Yes.
Placenta hash after that. I mean, we can really change up the game here.
It wasn't red water.
And yeah, our breeding efforts we had a nice little F1. She's a little F1 and she's a keeper. We have a keeper.
Goodness.
Yeah. We didn't
keep her.
We didn't have to call.
Best.
Did not have to call. She's great, dude. She really is. She's a cute little F1.
She leans towards her mother a little bit.
Definitely leans towards the mother. It's a 60-40 hybrid of what we have here. She's great, man. She really is. I'd say she's got my hair and she's probably got my feet. As long as she don't have my legs or booty, she'll be all right. In fact, she got my torso and Becca's legs, and then she might be tall. You know what I mean? But if she's got my torso, or if she's got my legs,
she'll be 14, towering over both of you guys.
Yeah,
with her younger brother, that's also taller than everyone else.
Yeah, it's gonna be strange. My nephew is like the tallest one in the family. You know what I mean? And I was the tallest one in the family for the longest time, and he shot it. He's the tallest one in the family. And I'm like, man, what is going on? Because I used to be taller than my brothers, and now he's taller than me. And yeah, man. So it's cool to watch genetics work because you can totally see little bits of her, little bits of me. I had somebody reach out and say that it's really cool having a little female version of them running around. I think that's a really cool thing. Also, I never really looked at it like that, but yeah, there's like a little female version of me to like balance out that duality of gender that exists. That's really cool as well. I think that it's cool to have a young half version of Becca running around. That's really cool too. Yeah, man. Yeah, hopefully maybe she'll watch this one day and be like, "Oh, cool, Dad thinks it's cool." Yeah, cool. But yeah,
wait till her personality fully comes out, because at this point we're pretty sure one of our daughters is a spitting image of Masupat, like through and through.
Yeah,
it's her. It's mini me.
That's hilarious, and I'm excited for it, man. I am. I'm excited to watch her grow and to see. But we introduced her to Ruben also today. Well, we obviously have had to.
Oh, please tell me how this went, man. How did Ruben? Was he wanting? Was he super excited, or did he calm down for it?
He really calmed down. When at first, when like he was like, it's crying, it's making noises, it's a hippo. What is this thing, right? And so we get really close to him with her, very slowly and cautiously, and he kind of sat down. And usually he wants to jump up, So this is a good thing. So we just introduced him on day one, just hi. Let him smell. And I actually took some stuff of hers to him first and gave him the leave it, and you're not putting your mouth on it. No, let him know that smell wasn't to be mouthed or, and the next day was, a little interaction with the baby. Then we put the baby in the kitchen where he could just kind of hang out a couple feet away from her. And then today we kind of did the same thing. We hung out in the kitchen for a while, and I, did my thing, and I did dishes in the kitchen while Becca went and fed the chickens, and I just had the baby in the kitchen with me while Ruben just sat there and didn't know what to do because Becca was outside. Well, that's a thing. The baby's here. That's a thing. So we really distracted him a lot, and then finally broke the barrier of the gate, and I just brought her into the living room and made sure he wasn't jumping or anything. Becca kind of had the side balance there, and fortunately she's on her feet enough to be getting around, and we're able to do the introduction. My mom and dad came over today, and we all hung out in the living room, and we actually put the baby in her little bassinet out there, and let Ruben freely walk around, baby freely lay, and I just stood guard, and so it's been a really good interaction, and so far so good. We're still going to take it slow. I'm not just going to go wandering out there with her.
Might have softened Ruben up a little bit too, huh?
Yeah, dude, it's really cool. Yeah, and actually he's not allowed back into this half of the house anymore, which he was. He really wants to get back to the bedroom. He likes to go under the bed. That's his spot. But he doesn't sleep with us in the bedroom anyways. He sleeps out in the living room. So it's not really been too rough. Just he likes to whine and cry when we're all back here. It does kind of suck. So I spent some time hanging out with him, giving him today was kind of snowy and slippery, but I'm going to be making sure that he's getting daily walks and love, and can't forget about your dogs and your pets during these times, but he's definitely taking the brunt end of feeling neglected. I feel bad. So we're trying to not let him feel too neglected out there. So but he's doing great, man. And he's going to be a great family dog. He did totally chill out. It was really cool to watch. It's nice because he still needs to be neutered and stuff like that. Well, we'll see what happens with that. I guess it's ultimately going to see what happens with the baby. I still don't want to make that decision, but everybody keeps saying,
Wait, you're going to neuter your baby?
Neuter the baby, neuter the dog on account of the baby, or he's just going to chill out. We're not going to have to worry about it, which is what I think is going to happen. So we're going to keep that one out there.
Until you guys go camping with this new baby, and you've got Ruben out there on a leash, and he tries to eat anything and everything and everyone that tries to come within 12 feet of that baby. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, that's a good point. We just got to get
I don't see a problem in that situation for Gurley. What are you talking about? That's exactly what you want.
It's not. I mean, it's really not a problem. It's just when unless someone gets bit or something like that.
Girls, don't be getting your hands where they don't go. You won't get bit.
Yeah.
Listen, I feel you on that one. I 100% back you. It's what this dog is here for. Why do you think it was barking at you?
Lucas,
just go, oh, good puppy.
Lucas said she might have my eyes. She definitely has Becca's eyes. She has blue eyes. I'm brown. I'm Harry Brown. I'm brown eyes.
What's Harry Brown? What's that?
Well, just brown hair, brown eyes. Just a lot of brown.
Also Harry.
Harry, yeah. She's gonna have dark hair and blue eyes. She's gonna be like Becca and I were talking about that not too long ago. Those physical characteristics I find very attractive. Male, female. I think that it's a very, very unique look with dark hair and light eyes. Regardless of skin tone, any of that stuff, it's a very cool look. She's gonna be a little knockout, man, and I'm gonna be batting all the kids away with a stick. So it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna have my hands full. So you don't have to tell me about it. I already know. Just have to inflict good values. That's it. Just good values, I suppose.
I love it. You gotta get her walking around barefoot with you out in the garden, soaking up the sun.
That's how you do it. Those are the values that we need, man. Those earth values, nature values. Those are the ones I'm really talking about. Bonding with the mind, being good in nature. That's what chilled me out the most. Realizing nature, that it caused me to love humanity, right? Is again a duality, two different polarities, right? Humanity is so destructive with nature, and nature allowed me to realize that, and that we have to love, and we have to be kind. We have to have good values to each other, and or else we have the opposite of good nature, and that's death and destruction, and all the bad things. So it's going to be really cool putting all of these philosophies into little children's books over the next few years. So we'll see how that happens. We have this I'm a huge fan of Goodnight Moon, and we got the Halloween version as a hand-me-down from somebody called Goodnight Ghoul, or Goodnight Goon, which is really cool because it's a bunch of little monsters. So I'm excited for the monster version of Goodnight Moon. Yeah, the baby stuff, man. I'm in that. I got it. That was it. Baby fever. Is that what it is?
Yeah, baby fever. There you go.
Yeah, I got baby fever. Finally at 40. Yeah,
It comes with exhaustion too. It's another side effect.
that's cool. Finally, well, not quite 40. I'll be 40 next month, so we're almost there.
There you go.
Yep. Yeah, so I enter fatherhood and Over the Hill in the same year. The
40's the hill.
The events. I think 40's the hill. The events just never seem to end.
I always
But
thought it was 50.
It's halfway to 100.
I would prefer it to be 50.
Yeah, that's good.
Definitely prefer it to be 50.
I'm pretty sure that's like all the cards in the birthday card aisle at 50. They're all black because they reference Over the Hill, and it's just all mountains and.
I always thought it
and
was
stuff,
the 40th. Maybe they just gave my brother the Over the Hill stuff early.
Well, I mean, not everyone's. Some people are on different paths. So I don't know your brother, so maybe they just felt like he was on a different path.
I don't need to be over the hill yet. I'll give it another 10 years.
You got plenty of time.
I don't want to be much of a downer or anything, but I do think that we should still at least mention and at least honor Skunkman Sam.
Well, yes. We
Sure.
spoke of life beginning, and we should honor life ending just the same. This should be again a duality and a polar episode. I unfortunately don't know much, so you do get to hear me pause now while other people do speak kind words of Skunkman Sam. I do, although, have been smoking Apollo 13, which is very skunky and cheesy, and thanks to Skunkman Sam, a lot of that cheese is out there through his work. So I really appreciate his contributions to what I'm smoking. So
The way Sam told it on Hash Church, I think he said that in Europe, especially the UK, they don't have skunk. They don't have the animal, the skunk there. They never have. It's not native to that area. So when skunk came over there, and cheese, the UK cheese is just a phenotype. It's just a skunk number one. So instead of them having an animal to equate it to, they just call it cheese. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but no, I mean, I really encourage people to watch Bubble Man's World YouTube channel at Hash Church today. They had legends. I mean, just a legendary panel. I don't know how many people were on the panel, but I mean, Mel Frank,
like 20 or something. That was just huge.
Yeah, I had it run in for a little while.
It was just amazing, and to sit there and hear the stories and everything. It was, I don't know, I can't say anywhere close to as good as what they put on that show. So I would just encourage people to go check that out because but yeah, he was a huge contribution to the cannabis. I mean, a lot of, like Red was saying, a lot of the cannabis that we're smoking today, if you go back in his genetics, he's probably got some influence on it somewhere. He's pretty OG when it comes to the cannabis game. He was running around with a lot of the same guys like Neville, or at least, not saying that he was buddies with Neville. I'm just saying he was running around the same time, working on cannabis at the same time. In some of the earliest seed banks. So, and he was a big collector of seeds. And he had like, I don't remember how many millions of seeds he had in his collection. It was ridiculous. He really was looking for like landrace. So he had a lot of the landrace in wild and crazy stuff saved. So, yeah, so if he hadn't done that, who knows what kind of genetics we would have today. Would be way lacking, that's for sure. So it's part of the reason that it's so diverse as it is today, I think, is because of his work.
I think he had a lot to do with haze and Durban poison too, which is obviously up my alley.
Heck yeah.
I don't know him personally or anything, or too many stories or whatever, but yeah, he certainly contributed a lot and was, I mean, constantly contributing on Hash Church. So it was definitely go back and watch them.
I mean, I think he was the first one attributed to feminizing seeds. He was the one that discovered static tech with Trisha Tags. He had contributions all around. I mean, a lot of on the medical side of cannabis and pushing through with pharmaceuticals, even working with pharmaceuticals to get cannabis essentially to the masses. Um, he's done a lot of a lot of things, a lot of work, and he's been controversial in some ways. A lot of mud unjustly has been slung on his name. I learned today the whole story of that, watching that show, and it was just interesting to see when you see somebody go on like a show like that was like an homage to a guy, and you see every big name you can think of, like the guys that wrote the damn books you were reading, Robert C. Clark, Mel Frank. I mean, these guys were sitting there. I don't know. There's just so many big names. I'm gonna, forget them all. But I mean, there's a ton of people on that show just talking about him. So just that aspect of it is like whatever you feel to have these big names in cannabis come on and talk about how they each had a story for how they encountered him. So that's somebody who was big in the community, obviously.
He definitely had a aurora around him, if you will. I guess what people will just come to and be
Like a legend.
just, I don't know. It was great. He's a great person and great personality. Just will definitely be missed. And definitely recommend checking out some of his old shows. I've been checking out a lot of it and listened to some of his favorite songs he talked about on some of the previous shows and stuff like that. It was pretty neat. Pretty wise character and definitely a legend. David Watson. We missed Skunk Man Sam.
Like I said, I wish I had more knowledge. I mean, I know of the skunk stuff, and actually, I think Not So Dog, and there's a Future Cannabis Project podcast just maybe a week or two ago that they were dedicating to Skunk Man Sam's work, and they were talking a bit about the cheeses and the skunks and things like that. And that was kind of like my first. I've heard his name thrown around a lot in the years, but that was my first time like hearing the stories. So really just the last couple of weeks have I heard, and it is a shame that we did lose another member in the legacy community, and it is another one of those things that brings a lot of us back together, and reminds us all why we're doing it, of course, and its origins of helping and expanding the mind of holistic medicine and the genetic pool of medicine and things like that. Yeah, really great stories, definitely.
So I guess to shift the topic from this sad stuff, I was this weekend. I was over there yesterday helping Baked pull down the Dirty Taxi. So we pulled down the Dirty Taxi. We pulled down the one Donnie Burger that we grew, and we have 2 plants left in there, but they still have a little bit more time to go. And those are I forget the name of those, but that's a completely different strain that we went in late, so that's why it's got to go a little bit late. But yeah, I'm really excited for these some of these Dirty Taxi because the yields were fucking huge, and they're just so sticky. Like I was, basically bucking down one plant. I was doing the fresh harvest, and on one plant, my gloves had to be changed 3 fucking times. It was so ridiculous. It's like I'd normally almost refuse to change my gloves. I'll do at least the whole plant before I, change my gloves. But it was just so sticky, like you couldn't even get your fingers apart like this. It was like, wow. So
what a great problem to have.
Yeah, I need to clip this part and replay it for Tara later so she can hear that too. Because
yeah, so they're super super sticky, and yeah, we got high hopes for those. Good yield and super sticky. So But the one thing too is that was under the one 4x4 area, the one light that we had under canopy lighting as well. The prototypes that we got from GML. So to be fair, they did have, you know, a little extra light coming from underneath too. And we did see bigger buds down the lowers, just like we expected, and all.
Yeah.
So. But to be fair, we didn't like dim the light above it. It got the same amount as the table next to it. So it definitely had light.
I'd be curious to know what the what's the good old formula, like the formula rather, the gram per watt, I guess.
Yeah, gram per watt.
Yeah, that's probably what we'd be looking for. So what was the wattage? So what's the wattage of the light above it, and then what's the additional under canopy?
So I'd have to. I don't know. I can tell you, like, we had the Tarantula Voyagers above it, and we set them on 100% cool white. So that'd be 720 watts
Nice.
of it. And I'm not sure how much of it was dimmed. So, but if it was at max, it would be 720 watts. And then the lights below, we had two of them, and they were 120 watt lights each, I believe.
Okay. It's a good amount of wattage below then too.
Yeah. Yep. But
They're IP rated and everything, right?
yes, yeah, they're IP66, I believe, waterproof.
There's so many different ratings. I'm not sure which is which, but
Yeah, 66, I think, is the waterproof. So yeah, they are definitely, and those are actually the actual release units are going to be coming out in March. Supposedly, they should be hitting us in March, so we'll be getting tariffed on those. Or maybe it was
yeah,
February.
this is why he had a opening statement about tariffs while he had the podium, everybody, because he's in this business of dealing with
Also,
I guess NAFTA, is it? I don't even know.
but like for us, where Grandmaster Levels has it set up pretty decently because he's got a warehouse in their headquartered in British Columbia, Canada, but then we have a warehouse in Michigan as well. So we could direct ship from China to the warehouse here, which we do. But what we also used to do is that if I were to run out of stock on something, but they had stock in Canada, we would continue to sell those units and just have them filled from Canada.
Drop ship, basically. Yeah.
You know, and they would ship it out. And we'd pay a 12 or 13% tariff when we crossed the border, but whatever, we just ate it.
Do you do that anyway when you bring them from China, or is it? I mean, I know it's gonna be like a 25 versus 10 or whatever it is as of yesterday, but
right now what it's going to be is now what's going to happen is what's going to change is that now my inventory, I'll have to go and change it on the website, but
you're gonna be selling them to Canada. Hey, GML, we got all your stuff here in Michigan.
Can't do that either because they impose a 25% tag.
Oh yeah, it's the same way.
So it's just going to be shut down, and that's not going to happen anymore. So if once I'm out of stock or something, we're out of stock, and you're going to have to wait till another shipment comes in to restock me because it won't. You know, we can't. We offer free shipping, so all that would be on the shipping cost, and we just eat that. So add an extra 25 when there's already a 12% tariff on it, it's just not feasible.
Yeah.
So
paying $1,500 for lights, everybody.
well, the good thing is we've got in March too that we've that's our new line lights, which we thank God had made the forethought of making more affordable lights, right? Like, okay, that was kind of our target was like the Mars Hydros and the Spider Farmers and where they have the, you know, on Amazon, you see them there and all over where you have more affordable lighting. We're like, well, we can make an affordable light way better than that. And so we have a line, like three different lights coming out, and they're coming out in March too. So even with the tariffs, even if those prices have to come up from where they're at, that's still going to be, I believe they're still going to be well under 1,000. So a couple might be up to over 1,000. I'll have to look at them again, but
Yeah,
so
I
like, But that was good. That was good forethought. So we'll have some option stuff. But yeah, of course, the stuff that we have now, that some of those prices are gonna be adjusted, I'd imagine, depending on how
You
long.
guys have to get do you guys have to get like FCC clearance or licensure or whatever it's called on these? Because I know, like, if anything in the United States uses like radio waves, airwaves, Wi-Fi, I think even Wi-Fi waves, like there are a lot of little devices you buy. It'll have this like FCC logo on it, and I think it has to be like cleared by them. I don't know if the LEDs would.
These is Wi-Fi or any of that stuff.
Okay.
Bluetooth maybe. I think our.
I think that's one of them.
I think maybe our. Does it use Wi? No, I think it doesn't use Wi-Fi for sure. I think our controllers use Bluetooth, but that hasn't even launched yet. We're trying to get that for the app.
Yeah. Okay. Just curious. And just another step to go through, you know.
Yeah.
What about you, Nutry?
Oh, really just froze. He's
Ferroli
like,
froze.
he's like, what about, man? What about for Nuttree?
Yeah. What about me? What happened? What happened to Ferroli?
I don't know, man.
We're about 3 weeks in the flower downstairs. I got GG4 5x5 tent under the chilled light with a, what is in there? Let's see. There's also, dang it, I'm drawing a blank now. Storm Shadow in with there, and then the other tent has 2 motor breaths and 6 not GG4s. It's, dang it, no. Why am I having a brain fart? Tears not Gorilla. It's
Motherfucking Jones.
not motherfucking Jones. No. GMO.
Oh,
Jeez, GMO. Yeah. GMO, motor breath, and GG4 are the main ones that I have going right now.
Oh, nice.
But they're about only like 3 weeks in.
I just harvested the strain name was King Hakan, but we're changing it to Queen Hakan because I hate male names on female plants.
Yeah, sure.
So call it Queen Hakan, and it's a GG4 cross the locomotion, and it's very GG4 leaning on the terps, and I love it.
Yeah. Kind of like how Red's Granddaddy Purple Cross, who's changed the name there. I remember.
Yeah, I was actually waiting for my turn in line. I figured I should shout that out here.
I just intervened you right in here. Let's go.
Did I miss Fergroli's departure? I just
I don't know
realized.
what happened. He just like froze up. He asked me what was going on, and then he disappeared. It just
Frozen mid sentence and then fell off.
Yeah. So maybe we can continue the show for 2 more hours if you guys want. No, I'm kidding.
I want.
Hey man, I've already done 2 hours before this shit.
Yeah, I know.
And I got lasagna sitting in there, and I just took a couple bites of and got Becca some lasagna. So I'm gonna smash. I'm gonna Garfield. I'm gonna I'm gonna go hang out with John Anderson, whatever the John's name is from Garfield, and we're gonna go hang out and cook some lasagna and eat some lasagna and go find Yodi and do that whole thing. Speaking of Yodi, Yodi really has nothing to do with what I'm about to say. But speaking of him, anyways, the
I thought it was it Odie? I thought it was Odie.
Odie. I'm just, I enunciate when
Yodi's better. That sounds way cooler.
Yodi, Yoshi, and Odie. Yeah, maybe I'm thinking Yoshi. Either way, okay, yeah. So I took Granddaddy Purple and I crossed it to Blue Steel. Granddaddy Purple, not Ken's Granddaddy Purple. Ken's Granddaddy Purple, I think it was a purple Urkel and something OG Kush or something like that. And the line I got, actually, speaking of skunk, is like a Mendo. It's like a North Cal Mendo purple skunk one and an Afghan or something like that, right? It's the Granddaddy Purple. It's a clone only Granddaddy Purple. It's Grateful Dead lot. Granddaddy Purple. You smell a lot of this like fruity grape gas in the parking lot and in the stands of Dead and Company shows, modern day Dead and Company shows. Anyway, that old Mendo Granddaddy Purple I've been holding on to for a really long time. It was, excuse me, the only cannabis that would help a patient of mine when I was first starting out as a caregiver. This was in like 2011, 2010, 2011. I would go to my buddies who had the clone and who were growing it, and I would get it for a patient of mine, and I would bring it back to the patient of mine. And I eventually started growing it myself. I got a clone of it and eventually got the clone to the patient of mine. That patient of mine was no longer a patient. He was able to grow his own. You know, it was very fulfilling in that sense. But I held on to this clone for many, many, many years. And lo and behold, the guy who used to grow it and got the cut from, speaking of fentanyl, he unfortunately was one of those tragic fentanyl deaths that happened. And just out of memory, man, I really held on to it for a really long time. The significance that it held with helping my patient, and I'll tell you what that was the patient of mine had some condition in his eyes where he would have these spasms where he would be unable to see. His eyes would have spasms so bad that he couldn't see, and they were very persistent, and they lasted a long time, and he would have a hard time driving. And if he smoked, you know, let's say some skunk or something that was, you know, a different flavor profile, or green crack or blue dream or anything like that, it would make it worse. He may get some effectivity from some of it, you know, but he was really looking for 100% indica, was, you know, phrases back then. We all know it can vary, but he wanted something Afghan and something that would sedate, let's just say that. And then he really wanted Purple Kush, and I tried finding Purple Kush seeds and clones, and, you know, got pretty close. I got Ken's Granddaddy Purple, and I tried growing that and never really got it to even veg. It just kind of died on me. And then eventually I through another friend, I ended up getting this clone of the clone only. And it really worked for him. It was like the only thing that would work for him. And so I immediately saw not only the power of genetics, or rather, I shouldn't say, I saw the power of cannabis as a medicine, right? Kind of first, and, you know, and then I saw the power of genetics, being that some cannabis didn't work and some cannabis did. And this is my first time witnessing it, you know, objectively, not just hearing it anecdotally through somebody, but I saw it with my own eyes. I was the type of person, I just smoke whatever. I could feel the nuanced differences, but I didn't really understand it medically at the time. It was 10, 15 years ago. And witnessing that made me even more intrigued, you know, and get more into it. Well, I held on to this clone for many, many, many years. And long story short, I finally did a little breeding project with this year and got a chance to keep some of its legacy in seed form. And I used a male from a line called Blue Steel, and that's Exotic Genetics. And take it for what it's worth. Exotic has some really nice modern stuff. They've been with strawberries and cream, and I know that they have a lot of cookies and cream and Girl Scout cookies in a lot of their genetics. And the Girl Scout cookies can have tendencies for intersex traits and things like that. So also, the Girl Scout cookies line is just in just about everything. And I really wanted to try to breed something that didn't have Girl Scout cookies in it. So I found a nice pack from Exotic Genetics, which was Blue Steel, and that has OG Blueberry. And I really like the idea of working Blueberry. I run a lot of DJ Short's gear, DJ Short Blueberry specifically. DJ Short doesn't really like, you know, much messing with and breeding with his stocks and things like that. And his stuff is also, no offense to DJ Short, it's very floral. It's good and bad floral. Like, I like DJ Short. Some people find it off-putting. Some people find it, they love it. They don't smoke anything else. the flowers can be very thick biomass, tend to be very crunchy leaves and flowers. The resin on it's still great, but there's a lot of like plant material, in the DJ Short blueberry. Nonetheless, the effects are what are important, and that's euphoric, that's uplifting, that's sedating in a sense, but he does have a very nice hybrid on that. Well, the blueberry was lost to like Dutch Passion many, many, many years ago, and without speaking too much for them or anything that goes on with them, just out of respect, he had to kind of rework the blueberry, and the old blueberry was kind of lost. Well, the old blueberry, the OG blueberry cut, was used in the blue steel to make the blue steel, and they crossed that with a line called the Cube. So Exotic Genetics blue steel is OG blueberry cut times the Cube. What is the Cube? The Cube is Starfighter, I believe, a back cross. I think it's Starfighter and Starfighter. And when you get down the lines of Starfighter, you find that it is basically a worked OG Kush line. So thankfully, there's no Girl Scout cookies in the Cube or in the Starfighter or in any of those, and it's with the OG blueberry. Now the flowers, the females are really nice, and I've actually gotten some really nice menthol off of the blue steel flowers. Some nice hints of menthol, which very well would complement the Granddaddy, because the Granddaddy has this like petroleum, fruity, almost minty type of a thing going. There's lots of different fragrances coming out of the Granddaddy, and it's lower on the THC spectrum, 16, 17%, 18%, but it's very high in the terpene spectrum with certainly myrcene and some others, but it has a very interesting effect that is almost psychoactive. It's very nice. It's very sedating and chill. Those blueberry lines are also very chill. You can really feel the effects of the OG Kush coming out in the blue steel in the effects. But the flavors on it, fruity, piney, menthol, really nice. That'd be the blue steel. So anyway, I crossed the two together, blue steel being the father. Cross them zone 7A here in southeastern Michigan in our outdoor organic, no spray, no till, regenerative. I don't know how many hot words I could throw at our garden, but we don't use chemicals. And we crossed it, and we finally, plucked a little name for it, and we're gonna call it Indigo Rose. So here we have Indigo Rose is Granddaddy Purple times blue steel, and we're throwing 13 regular seeds. Since it's Aurora's birthday this past week, since our little groundhog saw its shadow, and we're gonna only have 6 weeks of winter, since it's time to start putting the plastic on the caterpillar tunnels and getting lettuce in the ground. I don't want to do it tonight because there's not enough of a notice, but come on back next week for our show, or the next show that we have. I'm assuming next week is going to be it, but the next show that we have, I want to give a pack or 3 of these away. I think it'd be kind of cool to give some packs of these to our viewers, get them out there. Also, hit us up if you're interested in any of these packs. We're funding our farm. We're only asking for like $40 for these, and that will include shipping. We're going to ship them out for free. These are F1s. They're first season of them too, so they're untested F1s. So we're funding, but we're also giving some of them away. So if you can find us out on the road or anywhere, you probably get a pack of them if you talk about it enough with me, and talk about growing in general, or we'll be giving away out here on this show, because I'd really like to see the potential of this progeny in what its what its hidden potential may be. I'm very interested to see what it's going to do. So we're also going to have these up on Strainly eventually, and probably back up on our Rosemary's Oasis website whenever we get around to getting that back on. So for right now, just hit us up in the good old chat, good old fashioned Instagram or email or something like that. And yeah, I don't mind if the seed packers throw an extra couple seeds in there either. I have a tendency of not just putting 13 seeds in there. I'll put about 14 or 15 just in case you get a dud. I don't like duds. All hand picked, hand selected, no whites. Hopefully no floaters, but you know what? You never know. You never know. So that's why I toss a couple extras in there. So anyways, guys, yeah, I'm super excited about this cross, and thanks for letting me share our life story of what's been going on in the home garden all week. It's been very eventful, man. Happy to be
Kind of
home.
busy over there.
Happy to have the baby home. Ready to get back to building our farm and everything else that's going on there, and definitely ready to do it with the baby, and happy to have her on board. It's been great, man. And I'll tell you what, it's been one hell of a tea break for me. Obviously, I didn't smoke in the hospital. Came home and I haven't really been smoking. It's been really nice, man. Like I said, we haven't been smoking in the house for many, many months. I have to bail out to the garage. And Becca needs help with the baby. So I'm not spending my time, chiefing doobies and doing all that stuff, man. It's been nice. Taking a little bit of a tea break myself. And sort of also kind of out of solidarity, Becca's been on one heck of a tea break with the baby. She's not getting nothing aside from, maybe some CBD or whatever. But that's really all we're going to keep running, some CBD, which I find nice. I really felt the CBD earlier. I was put some earlier and drank some with my coffee, and felt nice and chilled out. So you can also contact us and get CBD products through us. We do sell a MCT oil CBD. I'll probably be switching it over to hemp oil once this batch. I don't like to be wasteful, but once this batch of MCT oil is out, we'll probably be moving over to hemp oil and using something a little different. But we do CBD products as well, and also for pets. We have our pet CBD products. Hit us up for any of those. And yeah, thanks, guys. Fuck yeah.
Quite the week indeed, man. It's very exciting stuff. You got a handful.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. We have a handful of the support, and we couldn't do it without, like you said, it takes a village. Beyond blessed, couldn't do it. Mom, dad, mother-in-law, father-in-law, stepmother-in-law, stepfather-in-law, the fucking A, dude. The list goes on. Everybody, aunts, uncles, friends, family, support, phone calls, messages, I love yous. That's amazing. Congratulations. Every single one of those things that helps lift the spirits and helps motivate us to get through this, experiential / slightly traumatizing time in our life / the best time I've ever experienced. I mean, yeah, life-changing. Many blessings to everybody out there also who are trying to have kids, who do have kids, who are struggling with children, who any of the stuff. Blessings, yeah. It's I can see I can see all sides of the spectrum. You know what I mean? The love and that everybody puts into their children, and my golly, I don't know what I'd do if anything happened to her. It's so, and I see that they grow up fast, and I see that they treat them kindly, and I see all of these things, and I see that there's a lot of great parents in chat, and there's a lot of parents on this panel, and finally add myself to that list, and from the young ones, the old ones, fucking rock on, dude. Moms and dads, and keep those kids healthy, keep them happy.
So
You are what you eat.
So what's the next addition to the farm? Is it going to be a cow?
I would love a cow. The addition for the cow would be a couple extra acres. The cow would be
Obviously an
fucking sweet,
alpaca.
Dude, an alpaca would be pretty cool. If it's here at this house and our property, it might be ducks eventually, or potentially another dog. But you never know how life goes. We were planning ducks last year and ended up being a human. So we'll see.
She was still trying to get that duck too.
She still wanted the duck, man.
I remember that
The duck
episode.
will try to happen, dude. Yeah, dude. Honestly, man, it would be cool when we can get ourselves a couple acres. Would be sheep. I would really like sheep. I think that sheep would be my next size up animal. If we were saying that there's a evolution of what animals to take care of, I would like sheep for a few reasons. One of them being
Would it be for the wool sheep, or would it be more of like a meat sheep, or
it would actually be a multi-purpose. I do believe that everything has to at least host, multiple purposes. You can't just, be a freeloader for too long. And so the sheep would be a wool thing. We would try to find some local seamstress, people who work in the textile industries and who want natural, organic clothing industry, that type of stuff. See if we could get some of the wool, the alpaca wool, things like that done. But the sheep also make really good milk, similar to goats. So you can milk sheep. And the meat side of sheep, if you think of Euro meat and lamb and all of that, well, sheep do make really good meat, and they're a lot easier to harvest than, say, a cow or a pig, because they're more like a deer. So if you have experience with deer, you probably could have experience with a sheep very easy. And I know it's hard to hear from some of our viewers, and I apologize. But we do eat meat ourselves, and that would be part of feeding our family.
you could process the wool yourself to at least to a point to where you could like have like a thread or something, not a thread, but like fiber, so that people could like knit with it or something. You could just sell that size stand.
And that's what I mean, finding for like textile in the textile industry, and also insulation too. We got, I don't know. I can't run to the home goods and get Home Goods doesn't sell insulation. Home store, box store, and get some good old Pink Panther insulation. I can always throw some sheep's wool in the wall if I'm in a bind. You know what I mean? But it definitely insulates some stuff. Naturally, chicken coops and things like that. You know what I mean? If I really don't want fiberglass in where my food's being made and things like that, yeah, I mean, sheep's wool makes a great insulation, log cabin packings and all that stuff. I think sheep are a cool regenerative animal, closed loop animal, and then of course the manure, right, and all of those other things. So
I have how to shear them, because it's getting really hard to find people that
shearing, and also the males, you have to clip their horns, because they got these really crazy horns that come out, but they also get these really crazy horns that come down, and they can go up into their cheeks, and they cut holes in their jaws, and naturally they fight and they break these things off. But in captivity, you get this hooking, and it really can mess with them. So they don't drop their horns in captivity.
I've seen deer antlers do that in the wild too. Just, every once in a while you get a genetic drift far enough that it's just like, instead of going that way, it starts coming back this way.
Yeah.
Crazy thing to live, just like a fingernail just slowly growing into your face or something.
I know, right? Yeah. Those hangnails, man. It'd be crazy if we had horns. I had to like really figure out a way to get my hat over this one horn on the side of my head.
Hats are going to be designed for it.
I was, for some reason, growing up, your parents always find ways of teaching you how to like not to lie or to be good or whatever. For some reason, mine was going to have horns growing out of my head if I'm like a bad kid. So I was always looking for them, dude. And I'm like, are they coming in yet? Where are they supposed to come in? I don't.
Childhood traumas. I wish. Would you rather have two horns like that, like the double horns, whatever you want to call them, or would you rather have like a unicorn horn, just a giant, like a 2-footer hanging off the center of your forehead?
For some reason, I feel like the single horn would be more difficult to deal with than two horns. I feel like the balance of the weight would be nice. I feel like I'd really be off.
What if it was like naturally bedazzled and you could control it and like make it different colors?
Can it shoot? If it can shoot magic, I'm in. Magic, if I can dazzle the magic.
Shoot rainbows.
Yeah, now we're talking. Shoot Aurora Borealis.
There you go.
Out of the horns. Tie-dye in the sky. Tie-dye in the sky.
I like it. You guys got anything to plug before so many different versions of that, yeah. You guys got anything to plug before we take off for the night?
The next
Tika?
Third Eye Craft Affair is
22nd.
February 22nd of this month. And the one following that, if you cannot make it, is March 22nd, the day after my 40th birthday. So I may or may
Alright.
not break this tea break with a doobie at the
Third Eye Craft Fair. I'm gonna bring my email and we're gonna dab you out after your tea break, both you guys, and it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be so fun.
There we go. Yeah, we'll see. One of these days, we'll be able to get a babysitter, and Becca will be able to come back out to the fests and enjoy and be back at it. Mama's going to rest. And thank you all for your well wishes, man. I really appreciate you all and allowing me to put a personal focus on the episode tonight. Thank you.
Of course, man. Of course. We'll get her back on here soon, I'm sure. Talk all about it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Maybe we can do a swap out where I watch the baby and she comes and hangs out with you guys next time or something.
There you go.
But-
We'll have a girls' night out. But yeah, next week we gotta give away some seeds.
Let's give away some seeds next week, guys.
Take care.
Do a couple packs of these, few packs. We'll figure out a method. So the next week or next show, stay tuned. Keep your notification bells going. I'm gonna have a few of these ready to roll.
Bing.
And you might even get some of our backstock CBD seeds also, which are going to be in the freebie. So if you do want to help and donate to the farm and get a pack of these, and you're definitely going to get some freebie other stuff as well, because we've got all kinds of shit. So
Hell yeah.
appreciate you guys.
We'll see you guys next week.
Later on.
Keep growing, everybody.